Evil Dead Rise is a 2023 horror film directed and written by Lee Cronin. Now, this film was originally going to be an HBO streaming exclusive, but it was later changed for a theatrical release, and I, for one, am happy they did that, because this is the first Evil Dead I've managed to see on the big screen, and frankly, the only gory R-rated horror film I've seen, or at least that I can remember. But anyways, this film keeps a trend of Evil Dead films with being isolated to roughly one location and following survivors struggling to withstand the onslaught of the Deadite horrors. In this tale, we follow Beth, played by Lily Sullivan, who is a groupie or guitar technician who discovered she is pregnant. After this revelation, which is very early in the film, she heads to the apartment of her sister Ellie, played by Alyssa Sutherland, and her kids. Stuff happens, a particular book is read, and Ellie is taken over by a Deadite. Now, for starters, everyone does fine. There's no particularly bad acting, just some shoddy writing that simply didn't make me feel attached to characters or even really dislike them. We have a fair bit between the cold open and the meat of the film. Honestly, I feel like Cronin was attempting to give us things about the kids to relate to them, and then to later emphasize with them. It doesn't fail, but it doesn't work either. The eldest daughter wants to go to protest and whatever, the son is a wannabe DJ, and the youngest daughter cuts the head off her dolls, to then put them on sticks. That last one is the most memorable, and if this night doesn't mess her up, I think she was one bad day away from having her own psycho horror film down the road. The son being a DJ is the only plot-relevant trait, as it gives him a somewhat easier route to playing the vinyls that kick everything off. All I could think is, where did he get speakers, and what apartment allows him to hook those up and play after dark? I mean, yeah, they acknowledge the apartment is decaying and largely empty, but still, I would more easily believe it if he just found a record player or something with the vinyls, though I guess they didn't want to be that close to the original. But all these problems are washed aside by one thing: Alyssa Sutherland as the Deadite. When the shit goes down in this film, it is great. My memory may be bad, but I don't recall the Deadite chick in Evil Dead 2013 really fucking with people, like the Deadites did in the original trilogy. This Deadite is creepy and preys on the relation between characters. There's also this great scene involving the record player, and I just love it. No spoilers, but essentially after that creepy bit, Beth stabs her in the neck with a screwdriver. Sutherland just looks at her with a look that says, "You really thought that was gonna work." And then it cuts to Beth getting thrown through a glass door. There's tons of nods throughout the film, and a very funny cameo by Bruce Campbell, too. Everything that happens in the third quarter is simply great, and carried by Sutherland. Again, everyone does a fine job, though one death did seem a little weak compared to everything else. It just came down to the fact I loved everything involving her Deadite character. Now, the ending of the film has garnered criticism by many, and I agree. It's not that it's bad, this is not a bad film, it's simply not a very good climax, especially compared to the ending of 2013. That blood rain scene is fucking metal. Even bringing in the original film's endings, this is simply one of the weaker endings, possibly the weakest of them all. So far, I'm happy with the two non-Bruce Campbell Evil Dead films. They both have problems, but neither fails at their attempts. If you want to see one of the best Deadite actors, give this film a watch. While this isn't the first Evil Dead property to go beyond the cabin, not counting Army of Darkness, it still manages to maintain the theme's tone and simple brutality of the franchise. Leave the flesh-covered book alone and watch the movie on this one. It's a safer and more enjoyable way to get some of that Deadite action.
Mom?
Mommy's with the maggots now.